You've definitely seen one of these before, right? Maybe lurking in an office closet or tucked away behind a desk. It's this flat, unassuming box, just blinking away under a wild mess of cables. It doesn't look like much, but that little box, it is absolutely essential to our digital world. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain on this unsung hero, the network switch.
Now, to really get why the switch is such a game changer, you have to know what came before it, the hub. I want you to imagine a meeting room where everybody is just shouting at the same time. That's a network with a hub. It was total chaos, with data packets literally crashing into each other. The switch changed everything. It took that loud, messy room and turned it into a building full of private offices, where fast, direct, one-on-one conversations can all happen at once. It brought order and speed to a world of digital noise.
So here's our game plan for this journey. First, we'll see how we went from network chaos to perfect order. Then, we're going to uncover the secret sauce that makes a switch so smart. After that, we'll check out some switches that have some serious superpowers. And finally, we'll wrap it all up and celebrate why this device is truly the unsung hero of any network.
All right, let's dive right into part 1, from chaos to order. This is the story of how the switch became the absolute hero of the local area network, or what we all call the LAN.
So, what exactly is a switch? Well, at its most basic, it's the central hub. Well, not a hub, the central point that connects everything on your local network. You know, your PC, the office printer, the servers. But the magic word here, the most important word, is intelligently. See, unlike that old hub that just blasted information out to everyone, a switch is like a smart traffic director. It knows precisely where every single piece of data is supposed to go, and it creates a direct, private line to get it there and only there.
Let's break down its core job a little bit. On a technical level, it operates at what's called Layer 2, which is all about the physical hardware, and it makes all of its smart decisions using something called a MAC address. The easiest way to think about a MAC address is as the unique, permanent serial number that every single network device in the world has. By using these addresses, the switch basically gives every device its own private lane on the data highway. This completely eliminates data collisions, no more digital traffic jams. And because everybody has their own lane, devices can send and receive data at the exact same time. We call that full duplex communication.
Okay, so that's the what. But the really cool part is the how. I mean, how does this little box figure out where every single device on the network lives? Let's move on and uncover the switch's big secret, the pure genius of MAC learning.
The whole smart operation, all of it, hinges on one single thing, the MAC address table. You can just think of this as the switch's brain, its memory, or its own private, constantly updated address book. This is where it keeps tabs on everyone.
And building that address book is this brilliant, simple 3-step process. First, the switch just listens. When your computer sends out its very first piece of data, the switch takes a look, notes your computer's unique MAC address, and sees which physical port on the switch you're plugged into. Second, it learns. It immediately writes down that MAC address and its port number right into its table. And finally, step 3, it forwards intelligently. From that second forward, anytime data comes in that's meant for your computer, the switch just looks it up in its address book and sends it straight to your port, and absolutely nowhere else.
So, here's the bottom line. Once a device is in that address book, all communication is totally private and super efficient. But what happens when the switch gets data for a device it's never seen before? Well, for that first time, and only the first time, it kind of acts like an old hub. It sends the data to every port, basically shouting, "Hey, who is this for?" The moment the right device answers back, boom, the switch learns its location, adds it to the address book, and it never has to shout again. It's a system that's designed to get smarter with every single packet it sees.
Now, as you might guess, not all switches are created equal. This basic learning process is really just the beginning. So let's move on and see how this simple idea can be scaled up as we explore switches with some serious superpowers, devices that go from being simple connectors to the intelligent brains of massive corporate networks. So you basically have two main families of switches. Over on the left, you have the unmanaged switch. This is pure plug and play. You plug in your cables and it just works. It's perfect for your home network or maybe a really small office. But on the right, you have the managed switch. This is the professional-grade tool. It needs to be configured for sure, but in return, it gives network admins incredible control to shape, to secure, and to prioritize all the traffic on their network.
So let's talk about those features. What kind of superpowers are we really talking about with these managed switches? We're going to break down 3 of the most important ones that you'll find in pretty much every big network out there.
First up is a huge one. VLANs, which stands for virtual LANs. This is an amazing tool for security and organization.
A VLAN lets you take one single physical switch and digitally slice it up into multiple, completely separate networks. For example, you could create one VLAN for the HR department, a different one for IT, and a totally isolated one for your guest Wi-Fi. And here's the key. Devices on different VLANs can't see or talk to each other, even if they're plugged into the very same box.
Next, we have something called Spanning Tree Protocol, or STP. Its job is simple, but it is absolutely vital. It prevents network meltdowns. See, to build a really reliable network, you often want backup paths in case a cable gets cut or a switch fails. But if you just connect switches in a loop, data packets can get trapped and circle around forever, crashing the entire network. STP is the smart protocol that automatically finds these loops, blocks the extra path to prevent a disaster, but keeps it on standby ready to activate in a split second if the main path ever goes down. And our third superpower is QoS, which stands for Quality of Service. This one is all about setting priorities. Think about it. Is an important video conference with a client more critical than someone in sales downloading a huge presentation file? Yeah, of course it is. QoS lets a network admin create an express lane, ensuring that time-sensitive stuff like video and voice calls always get the bandwidth they need to run smoothly, no matter what else is happening on the network.
And for one final superpower, we can even move up a level. Most switches we've been talking about are Layer 2 devices. Think of them as a local mail sorter, using those MAC addresses to deliver mail within a single post office. But a Layer 3 switch is more like the Postmaster General. It also understands IP addresses, which means it can actually route traffic between different networks or between those VLANs we just talked about. It's basically a switch and a router combined into one powerful device.
And all of that brings us right back to our main point. After seeing how it learns and all the powerful things it can do, it's pretty easy to see why we're calling it the unsung network hero, and why this little box matters so much. So let's just sum up its true impact. The switch almost single-handedly transformed our local networks from total chaos into intelligent, efficient systems. It is the fundamental building block that makes the fast, scalable networks we rely on for everything even possible. With features like VLANs, it gives us security. With STP, it gives us reliability. And with QoS, it makes sure our most important conversations get through. It really is the silent workhorse of our modern, connected lives.
And really, this is what it all comes down to. 1. A single smart device, often hidden out of sight, is responsible for managing countless private, high-speed digital conversations every single second of every single day.
So there you have it. The switch is the device that solved the problem of local network chaos. It evolved from just a simple connector into a highly intelligent traffic director. It completely mastered the LAN. And that leaves us with one final big question. As our world gets even more connected, more complex, what is the next great challenge that this fundamental piece of technology will have to evolve to solve?